1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. How's everybody doing this morning? Just going to say good morning to a few people that are watching, hanging out with me on a beautiful Monday morning. Good morning, Lacey. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Rod, Martha. How are you guys? Yolanda. Thanks for being here this morning. So I'm going to be talking this morning. It's going to be, let me add some light here. I've got a new setup here. So let's see if this helps. I'm getting ready to travel, and so I've got a new setup that I'm going to give it a go. It's going to attach right to the phone. That should make the lighting. I've got a new lighting system that last week it's actually covering the video, sorry. Okay, so I was in Las Vegas last week, and I was in a hotel room, and it was actually pretty dark, so I figured that I would try to get some new lighting. So I've got a new lighting, I've got a new tripod set up as I get ready to head to England here in a few days, where I'm going to be studying at the prestigious Arthur Findlay College in Psychic Sciences, Mediumship, Spiritual Healing, Metaphysics. So I just want to say good morning to you. Give a big shout out to my Boston Red Sox who won the World Series. So I know a few of you are some Red Sox fans on here. So good morning, Mom. She's got I see her logo coming up for the Boston Red Sox. So world champions. We're all excited in our family. Big Boston family, Boston Red Sox family, Boston sports family. But this morning I'm going to be talking about. We're going to have a little fun. I thought it would be fun to talk about ghosts, and with Halloween right around the corner, I wanted to share some aspects of what a ghost is, what an intelligent energy is versus a residual energy. So I thought it'd be fun, just in the spirit of Halloween, in the spirit of spooky things. I wanted to share my experience. It really, I think, now that I think back about it, it really started my spiritual journey before I even knew my spiritual journey was going to unfold, to be honest with you. So I was stationed at a small boat station down here in Washington State, down in Owaka, Washington, called the National War Lifeboat School, also known as Cape Disappointment, or the Graveyard of the Pacific. So a lot of people have passed and transitioned. And so this morning I'm going to be sharing that ghost story with you. My first experience with actually seeing, with my physical eyes, a real ghost. And I'll be honest, it scared the crap out of me. But before we get into the story, before we start telling ghost stories, we're going to be doing that on my online spiritual development group, 2SDG. This week we're going to be sharing ghost stories and just kind of give you the education about working with what you see, whether it's an intelligent spirit or if it's residual energy of a spirit. And I'll kind of break that down for you. But with everything on a Mocha Monday, you got to have some coffee, you got to have some tea. So grab your coffee, grab your tea. Let's hang out for the next 30 minutes and have a spiritual chat, talking about Cape Disappointment, the Graveyard of the Pacific, and ghost stories in light of fun of Halloween. So if you want to stick around, I'm going to be talking for the next half hour. I'm going to give you a positive mantra for the week, going to give you a totem animal and a crystal for the week, as I always do on every Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. And every Monday morning we start at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on the Intuitive Prospector page. So what I'm going to start doing, if you would share out, I'm going to start tracking people that actually help me share out this page, and then I'm going to enter your name into a hat, and I'm going to pull a name out once a month. And for people that help me share and help me grow my page, I'm going to give back and give somebody a 30-minute reading for free, which is valued at $150 with me. So if you could share out to some pages, if you could share out to some like-minded individuals or communities, that would be, without getting in trouble on Facebook, of course, but if you could share out some of the pages or invite people to like my page, to subscribe to my YouTube library. If you're watching on your phone, just touch your screen and the description pulls up. And if you are not watching on your computer, just hit the see more and you'll see that there's a link to my YouTube playlist. There is a link to the Intuitive Prospector page. So make sure to turn the notifications on, hit the like button. We're a small show, been in my second season, and just trying to grow, just trying to reach more people. It's a free service that I provide every week to help people in guidance and education and spirituality and physics and psychic and mediumship and meditation and mindfulness and consciousness and intuition and awareness, all that good stuff. That's what this show is about. It's about to inspire you to go out for the week and have that vibration, that tone, to really live a heartfelt, happy life, something that I've had to work hard at in my own journey through a lot of pain, through a lot of tragedy. But on the other side of pain is happiness, is pleasure. And so that's what this show is. It's to help you and to guide you and to inspire you. So that's my Myers-Briggs profile told me that I was an inspire, so here I am doing Metaphysical Mocha Mondays every Monday morning here on the Intuitive Prospector channel. You can also catch me every Wisdom Wednesday over on Om Times Radio, which is our internet-based radio show. Would love to have you hang out with us. We have amazing guests from all over the world. It's in our third season, and we have a lot of fun. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's go prospecting for your own spiritual gold. Want to give you the mantra that I've been saying all for the month of October. I guess we're almost to November. And it's also the positive mantra for the Positive Living radio show. And it's energy without focus is chaos. Focus on all the good that is coming your way. And when you can tell yourself that and just realize without any focus, you're just going to be in a chaotic state of energy. So again, energy without focus is chaos. Focus on all the good that is coming your way. If you want to learn more about the work that I'm doing, you can go to marclainhart.com, internet search The Intuitive Prospector. You can also find me on a few sites, Best American Psychics, Bob Olson's Best Psychic Directory. Now honored to be a part of FamousPsychicMediums.com. I was really honored to see my profile up with some amazing mediums and spiritual light workers and people I've learned under and mentored under and learned from. So it was very humbling and honored experience to be part of that dashboard and part of that website now. So FamousPsychicMediums.com. You can find me there. You can also find me streaming through Alexa. Just open up the Positive Living app and ask to play Positive Living, and you might get an awakening tip from me through Alexa. So, okay, so please share out. I am monitoring those that are helping me to share the page out. If you share out, you'll be put into a drawing starting in November. I'll measure today's, if anybody shares out. But if you share out, I will put your name into a drawing and pick a person once a month to get a 30-minute free reading with me by just helping me out. And so I would appreciate it. So, okay, so let's talk about ghost stories real quick. I wanted to, and just in the spirit of Halloween, I wanted to share my first experience with a ghost, and also just kind of educate you and show you the difference between what a residual energy is and what a intelligent energy is. And as a medium walking in between two worlds, there is a big difference. So take a deep breath with me, get a cup of your coffee. Let's find the magic in the moment, because that's all the guarantees there are, is just right now. There is no guarantees for tomorrow. So I see some of your well, Billy, thank you. You were literally my favorite psychic. I appreciate that, Billy. Billy, I'm going to have the prospecting Q&A after show. So for everybody that's hanging out with me right now, this is just a 30-minute where I'm just sharing stories and sharing knowledge and wisdom and education. And then at 8:30, I'll come back on for a half hour with the prospecting Q&A after show. That's where I'll actually have a direct conversation with you, spiritual readings, spiritual chat, spiritual inspirations, connecting to the community, connecting to like-minded individuals like yourself. You may have found yourself here maybe by accident, maybe by guidance from the unknown, and I'll answer your questions there. But Billy, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Billy said that I was his favorite psychic. So let's talk about ghost stories. Let's talk about Cape Disappointment. Let's talk about the graveyard of the Pacific. So I'll be honest with you guys. When I started down this path, this would have been 1993. I wasn't into spirituality. I had a religious belief. I was raised Catholic, so I had a Catholicism upbringing and background, but never really resonated with that. So I did believe in God or something bigger than myself, but it wasn't until I got down to the southwest tip of Washington State. So if you are watching from abroad, I'm in Washington State right now, up in Seattle, Washington. It's about 2.5, 3 hours south of me, and it's where the Columbia River empties into the Pacific Ocean. It's a very chaotic area. It's one of the foggiest places in the world. It's the second most dangerous bar crossing. So what I mean by bar crossing is when the ships are crossing into the Columbia River Channel, it's the second most dangerous in the world to Cape Horn, Africa. So over the course of time, when I was there, by measured records of historical records, when I was stationed there at the National War Lifeboat School, a Coast Guard station, because I was in the Coast Guard for 8 years, there was over 2,000 vessels that had sunk in that 2-mile area, and there was over 800 lives that had been lost. So that's why it's called the Graveyard of the Pacific, because it's just so chaotic that sailors, even back in the day, even think about just if you didn't have motorized vessels and you could only sail, it was pretty dangerous. And even with motorized boats today, it's still challenging to navigate these waterways because the waves are big. I mean, they get up to 20, 25 feet in size, and very, very powerful. And they're so powerful that the Coast Guard decided to create a school called the National War Lifeboat School to teach what we call coxswains, boat drivers, to drive in the dangerous surf to be able to go out and rescue people. And that's what the Coast Guard does. They go out, but they don't have to come back in. That is the mantra for the Coast Guard. But it's to teach these drivers how to navigate in these big waves. So when I was stationed there for almost 3 years, it was my first duty station out of boot camp, being in the Coast Guard. I was in the Coast Guard for 8 years, so did a lot of search and rescue, a lot of law enforcement, a lot of drug interdiction, immigration control. But I was down there training for 3 years in the heavy surf. And we started to, well, when I was there were stories about a lady in white. And, you know, with every place has its ghost stories. And so today we're talking about ghost stories in celebration of Halloween. And I wasn't really a believer, to be honest with you. And over the course of being there for my first year, I started to have a lot of experiences with doors closing at 3 o'clock in the morning, stuff on my desk being knocked over. And I just, I thought maybe it was just the wind, or, didn't really pay any attention to it. I didn't really think about ghosts or ghost experiences. And it was about a year into being down there in this area, the Graveyard of the Pacific, Oahu, Washington. Some of you would know it right across the bridge from Astoria, Oregon, Long Beach, Washington. That whole area, that's where I was stationed at. And I was there for about a year, and I had my first visual experience with a lady in white. Now, the story goes that there was a lighthouse keeper, the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse and the North Point Lighthouse, and the caretakers were living there, and the woman, Mary, we call her the woman in white because she was wearing a white dress, and that's how she's always seen around the bluffs, around the Cape, around the lighthouse, around the duty station, is wearing a long flowing white dress. Name is Mary. Mary Pelinos, I'm not sure I'm saying her last name right, but she supposedly had gone off some of her meds, and she was having some experiences, and went to pray to try to deal with her own journey, her own spiritual journey. And she was on the cliff right by the lighthouse, and the story is they're not sure if she committed suicide or if it was an accident when she went down to pray and she fell to her death in the water. So and this would have been right around the 1900s, 1902, I believe. It's been a long time since I've told this story. I didn't know I was going to be talking about this, but I was inspired for Halloween to share this story with you. And so what people would talk about was, did you see her last night? So here you got a bunch of guys, coasties, very confident, arrogant young men, sitting around saying, did you see her last night? Yeah, I saw her down by the boathouse, or she was in my ready room. And the ready room is where you would stay if a search and rescue alarm went off. You would be able to run from your ready room, the bunk room, down to the small boats, jump on the boat, get them, turned on, and head out to do the rescue. If there was a boat taken on water, overturned vessel, people in the water, just it ranged in the 3 years I was there. There was all sorts of different cases that we went on. And we would talk about seeing her, the lady in the white in the boathouse. And it was about the first year that I was there that I was getting off duty. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. I was heading back to my dorm room. So there's a long row of dorms that are connected to the station. And I had my own single room, like living in college, or a dorm room. I had my own bathroom, my own little living area, bed. It was actually pretty cool for my first experience in the Coast Guard. And as I was walking down this long hall, so if you think of it like a long hall, looking down a long hall, there's a bathroom at the very end of the hall, and I saw somebody walk across, the lady, a white gown is what I saw. I saw somebody walk across in front of me with my own eyes, and I went, oh, who's up at this time in the morning? So I walked down to see if there was somebody down there, and the door was still swinging, so I know that there was somebody in there, and when I went in, there was nobody. So that was my first experience with seeing a ghost, because I looked high, I looked low. There's windows in the space, but it was dead of winter, and the windows are only about so big, so they couldn't crawl out the window, but the analytical mind wants to reason with what the eyes just showed you. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't rationalize. I couldn't figure out what I was seeing with my own eyes. So I had to chalk it up to my very first experience of seeing a ghost. And when we see ghosts, and you can see ghosts with your physical eye, now, as a medium, I don't see people from the spirit world with my physical eye. It's more of a sensation through my third eye, or clairvoyance, feeling them on my skin, clairsentience, claircognizance, just a sense of knowing, and working with people that are no longer incarnated in the physical form, but now reside in a world very close to ours, what I refer to the spirit world, and they're guiding us, loving us, supporting us. But the difference is they're intelligent when they communicate with me. They're actually having a communication with me. So that is an intelligent connection. Now, when you see a ghost, a lot of times it's a residual, what we call a residual energy. So think of it like a loop or a record playing. So when I saw the lady walk across the hall, the lady in white, or Mary, I was seeing probably just a pathway of maybe where she walked before the dorms were built, before the station was there as it is now. I was just picking up some energy lines of her when she walked her path, or what she did when she was the lighthouse keeper. So think of it like this. When you wake up, what's the first thing that you normally do? Most of us wake up, go into the bathroom, do our thing in the bathroom, shower, get ready, go to the closet, get dressed, go downstairs to the kitchen, eat breakfast, have some coffee. It's Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, right? Go out to the car, get in your car, go to your work. Now think about doing that residual pattern for 25, 30, 40, 50 years in your house. That's why they say houses can be haunted. It's not that they're still hanging around haunting the house. They've moved on. The laws of physics states that energy always has to move somewhere. So as a science guy, I don't believe in purgatory. I believe that you're either here or you're either there. But what does stay behind are patterns, which we call residual energy, like a record playing, like a loop. And sometimes us as humans can pick up on these energy lines, this residual energy. And it's just literally like putting the record down, playing the record, and seeing things that you normally don't see. And it's just, especially if a place has a history, it's because it holds energy. So depending on the Stanley Hotel comes to mind, because it's built on limestone. Certain stones can actually hold different energy, like a sponge, like an energetic sponge. So the difference between a residual energy, which modern society calls ghosts, which I saw down at Cape Disappointment, Mary the lighthouse keeper. I saw her walk across, and I saw the door swinging back and forth, so I knew that there was movement, but I didn't find her. And so that was just a interaction with a ghost on a residual energy. Now, if I would have said, "Hey, Mary, how are you?" and I yelled down the hall, and she would have stopped and turned and said hello back, that would be an intelligent communication. The intelligent communication started back in 1849 with the Fox sisters in upstate New York, in Hydesville, New York. It's no longer there. But they actually started the modern day spirituality movement, if you will, mediumship in modern day. And they did it through the course of knocking. So they would knock, and then they would get a response back. And they actually created a lettering system off the knocking, and they would knock on a piece of wood, knock on a floor, and they would actually start to have an intelligent communication with a spirit that was in their house. He was actually a vagabond that had been murdered and buried in the bottom of the house. They later discovered that. Now with anything in doing ghosts and paranormal and psychic and mediumship, you're going to have the critics, you're going to have the naysayers, you're going to have the non-believers. I totally welcome skeptics. I think it's healthy to be skeptical. I didn't always do this work. I've had 2 near-death experiences, one OBE, one NDE, where I walked with the shadow people, which I know today were some sort of angelic higher ascended masters when I was 5 years old. And also when I was in a river accident, and just touching the other side briefly with a peace and love that I have never felt in this journey. So I didn't always believe in this. I didn't always do this work, guys. And so I've really worked hard the last 10 years to decipher and to demystify the role of death and dying, and to know that death is not an end, death is just a beginning, and that there is life after death. Whatever your belief system is, religion has different belief systems, but almost every religion does talk about an afterlife, depending on where you're raised in the world. But today I wanted to share my very first ghost experience with you in celebration of Halloween and the upcoming, which will be this Wednesday. I'll actually be on an airplane to England on Halloween, so that's going to be interesting. Never traveled on Halloween at 30,000 feet before, especially on a 9-hour flight. But I'm actually heading to England to study for a few weeks. To study, I think mediumship is a vocation and a lifelong process. And I'm studying the intelligence of the spirit world. And there really is an intelligence. But the difference between an intelligent communication is literally having a communication with somebody that's no longer in the physical body and has decarnated. And the best way that you can communicate with something that's unseen is do what I call a haircut and a shave. And it's literally doing the knock. So dun, 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 dun. And wait to see if you get a response. And if the spirit world comes with a response, dun, dun, then you're having an intelligent communication. But if there is no response, a lot of times when we see ghosts, Hollywood portrays them as they're going to attack us and take us over. And I have not had that experience, to be honest with you guys, and I don't follow that path. I don't go down that path. I actually stay away from that kind of stuff. I stay in the light. Not to say that's not real, because with light there is dark, but I just choose not to participate in that belief system. And I've had lots of communications with those in the spirit world. So if you want to have an intelligent communication with a ghost, do a haircut and a shave. Talk to them and see if you get a response back, either in your mind, if you get a feeling. That's an intelligent communication. But if there is no response and all you're seeing is somebody like a lady in white named Mary walking back and forth, or seeing her up at the lighthouse looking out to the Pacific Ocean and the dress blowing, which I've seen her several times that way. I would look up and see a lady in white looking out off the cliffs of Cape Disappointment, the Cape D Lighthouse. The lighthouse is going at night, and here you catch a glimpse of a lady in white with her dress blowing. It does kind of freak you out, but we tend to go to that fear factor of what we don't understand. So the spirit world is not here to haunt you and to scare you. A lot of times when you see a ghost, it is residual energy. You're just seeing an essence of who they were, especially if they did the same patterns over their lifetime. And just think about your own pathways in your house, at your job, in your car, in your private spaces, how you leave energy behind, things that you wear. I work with psychometry, and people bring me things to hold all the time. And your impressions, your energy, if you think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, you can really start to unlock the secrets of the universe. Nikola Tesla taught us that. And so objects hold energy, and now even quantum physics is starting to look at that maybe the reality of time is not what we think it is, because we're just a compression of a bunch of cells and energy going about our day with our worries and our stresses and our dramas. So, as we move into the future in the next 100 years, I think you're going to see a lot of things with the spirit world, the intelligence of the spirit world, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, just the theories and the hypotheses that Albert Einstein talked about. Some really great philosophers talking about the connection to the unseen world. But today I just wanted to share with you that when I was down at Cape Disappointment here in Washington State, stationed at the Cape Disappointment duty station for the U.S. Coast Guard, I saw my first ghost with my physical eye, but it was a ghost of residual energy because she had no interaction with me. I just saw her presence, her in the white dress, and I never had a conversation. I do remember her standing at the foot of my bed when I was at the boathouse on duty, and my covers were a little tight. I do remember that. So that was an interesting interaction, but I never actually had an intelligent communication with her. But today I wanted to share that story, ghost stories. I'm going to be coming back here in just a few minutes for the Prospecting Q&A after show for about a half hour today. So if you want to have a ghost story, share a ghost story, have a chat, do a reading, I will be doing that here on the Prospecting Q&A after show. But before we get to that, I wanted to give you your numerology number. I'm going to randomly pick it. The number is 5 today. Change is coming, so be ready for the change, especially as we move into the month of November. The number 11, which is a master number in numerology. So the number 5, which is about a freedom, love, and adventure type of energy. So if you're a 5 in numerology, get out there and just celebrate life, have fun. Your spirit totem animal, I have tied to the travel, because I'm getting ready to travel for 3 weeks. And let me turn, I'm getting a lot of notifications here. The albatross. So the albatross kind of looks like a seagull. And the albatross, if the albatross shows up for you in your journey as a spirit totem animal, I look to nature to connect with nature all the time, where we can get a lot of messages, interactions, healing, guidance, teaching from nature. Whenever the albatross, which kind of looks like a seagull, it shows up, whatever issues you have been in the way of your spiritual or emotional growth are now cleared. So I'm putting that because it's a good travel energy, and I'm getting ready to travel. So I'll pay attention to the albatross. And for those of you that are watching today, whatever issues have been in the way of your spiritual or emotional growth, if you see the albatross, it's just saying that those have now been cleared for you, and to keep moving forward and to keep celebrating and living your life. The crystal for today, and if you want to put that, anybody watching want to put that down in the comment section, I'd really greatly appreciate it. This crystal is Cerussite, and I'll spell that for you. Cerussite. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I'll give it a go. What it is, it's a stone, and I picked it because I'm traveling, and so I wanted an energy that's going to travel with me because I'm moving into the future. Technically, as I head to England, I'm moving 8 to 9 hours into the future from my own time zone. So Cerussite is an excellent grounding stone that assists in feeling comfortable in the environment and extremely useful for people who feel that Earth is not their natural home. So I'm going to be not in my natural home as I travel like an albatross to England to study. And so I'm going to take a little bit of this Cerussite. Cerussite is the prospecting stone. It's from Nibia, and it's a specialty stone. So it's kind of white and yellow translucent crystals and kind of a white, gray, black, yellow kind of color stone. But it really is an excellent grounding stone, and it helps people feel comfortable in environments that they may not be comfortable with. So I just wanted to share that prospecting stone with you. The albatross is your totem animal spirit for this week. I'm going to try to come live to you next Monday. Depends on Wi-Fi, depends on technology, depends on what I'm doing. So if not, I'll be back hopefully the following week. I'm going to be in England for almost 3 weeks until Thanksgiving, studying, maybe looking for ghosts, experiencing ghosts, residual and intelligent, communicating with the spirit world at the prestigious Arthur Findlay College. Looking forward to it. I always call it one of my second homes to study. I've been going for 5 years trying to get the understanding of mediumship, metaphysics, spirituality. What is all this stuff? Because a lot of what we're talking about today is pseudoscience. You can't prove a lot of it, but you can't disprove it either. So it's based on your own feeling. It's based on your own journey. So I just wanted to thank you this morning for hanging out with me. Again, pay attention to the albatross, to the prospecting stone I gave you, to the number 5, and change energy that's coming your way. And until then, have a great rest of your week until our next soul adventure together. Be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and I'll see you here in about 1 minute for the Prospecting Q&A after show. If you guys want to share out, please do so, and I'll be picking people who share out to be entered into a drawing in November for a free 30-minute reading with me if you help me share things out, which is valued at $150 reading with me. And I'll be back here in just about a minute for the Prospecting Q&A after show. So come back, have a conversation. I might bring you live onto the air. You might get a reading. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Life is short. Live it. So let's see where we go from this. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Namaste.